Hello folks, Paul here, UK Rails and More. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. You join me in the spa town of Buxton, which is where we left off on the previous Scenic Inspiration video, and that one covered a trip over the Cat and Fiddle along with some details of the overbridges, terminus station and viaduct around Buxton. So if you've not seen that, please feel free to check that one out. Today's edition is going to look at the stunningly beautiful Wye Valley in Derbyshire. Also, as well as that, I'm going to be having a look at Millersdale, Monsal Trail, and then a full trip down the Wye Valley from near Monsal Trail, Ashford in the Water, where we're going to be coming all the way back into Buxton, so you'll see the full valley, and that valley has given me a lot of scenic inspiration, which I hope to incorporate in the new modular layout build. So if you like the sound of all that lot, please stay tuned, and I'll bring you back for more. Bye for now. Okay folks, welcome back. Could I just say a big thank you first of all to anyone who's recently subscribed to the channel. That's very much appreciated, and also of course to all long-term ticket holders. Thank you. If you do like the video, I'd be really grateful if you could just give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching in any case. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so we're heading up from Buxton towards Bakewell, and we've just turned left here onto the A6 Bakewell Road, heading through the beautiful Wye Valley. The Wye Valley in Derbyshire is an area of outstanding natural beauty, and I'm sure you'll agree from this short run that we do up to the point where the road is closed. The Wye Valley really presented quite a challenge for the railway planners and engineers, really, because it's a very deep, steep-sided valley with a river running through at the bottom. This road runs through it, and there's also a rail track that changes from double line to a point where it's just single track line. And what you'll see from the footage, certainly the footage I record tomorrow, is that there are various bridges where the line links and crosses over this road and the river at various points, and certainly in quite a short distance at points. So I thought that would be a really nice feature to kind of draw some inspiration for it for one of the modules on the new layout that I'm putting together. The layout I'm putting together has started, so if you are new to the channel, please check out the baseboards video where I start the first stage of the baseboards of one of the modules. Okay folks, so the line basically, at the moment it's a predominantly freight traffic line servicing the quarry and aggregates traffic that comes from the Peak Forest, Peak Dale quarries and Tunstead quarries, and various quarrying activity that goes on around there. It used to be a fully working passenger line in the steam days, and certainly if you look on YouTube there's some fantastic documentaries just covering how that line would have been and the real engineering challenge that took place to build the lines through such a steep-sided and very twisty valley as it follows the River Wye here through Derbyshire. So yeah, well worth having a look at any of those that you can find. Okay, if you want an idea of some of the typical traffic that you would see on this line, then please check out my Peak Forest videos, and that will give you a good flavour of some of the traffic that would use this line. It's also well worth having a look on Google Maps as well, just to see how it curves around. It's quite interesting to get your head around. I believe in the past they've also ran the odd special as well, passenger special, so I think that'll be an absolutely fantastic one to go on, and I'd certainly hope to do that in the future once things get back to normal, hopefully. So yeah, anyway, as we carry on along this road, we've got this building on the left where I parked up a bit later just to have a look at the bridge, because the first rail bridge is just around this bend, which you'll see in a moment, just come into shot. Okay, there it is. So I basically turn round and then park up, and then we'll just go back and have a look at the bridge. From the following day, I did do a run coming from Ashford on Water, and that came and it brings us back through this road because it wasn't closed. The other bridges that I looked, they do cross, there's quite a few of them, but they seem to be quite a standard type of style, this kind of iron structure to them. that we'll see when we just take a bit of a closer look at this this other bridge when I park up in a moment. And then I just filmed this really nice Peak District sign, just reminding us we're in the Peak National Park. Okay, so basically the line that we're following here that crosses the road at various points, I really wanted to incorporate that into, or something similar, the style of it, into the one of the modules of the new layout. And what you'll notice when we take some photographs in a moment and you see those, the line, albeit this valley is very steep at points, it's a very deep valley at certain points, the actual line and the track bed isn't actually that high. So certainly the next video I do on the build of the baseboards, we'll certainly be looking at the height of the running lines. For anyone who's not aware already, I'm going to have two running lines, so one is going to be higher and then I'm going to have a lower one, but both will be elevated just so it gives us some real potential of what I can do with it. The highest level one will lead on to the Peak District line, which is where this one is actually going to be set. So I'm aiming to really try and get those trains running, so when the line connects onto this particular module, we'll have a nice elevation, so I can sort of feature and incorporate that road and river and the way they continually cross each other, and possibly get a couple of bridges in. I would think would be quite good, and that should look really good. So anyway, yeah, let's have a look at a bit more of this stunning scenery. Okay, it really was a nice day for filming here. The valley in places where it's so steep and narrow, it really it can be quite cool even on a really hot day because it's just so sheltered, it limits how much sun it gets. But here at the Buxton end it's a bit shallower, so yeah, really the sunlight really gets through. Just having a look over at that river, and the bridge is just round that corner as well, the rail bridge. Okay, on this next shot we look up from the stream, or river I should say. As we look up there, you can just make sight of the first bridge there for that goes across, so you see the style of that bridge, and obviously there's the track bed. You can't quite see it, but just sort of midway up across those trees, I would imagine. Okay, just a zoom in shot there, just have a look. We will get some better looks of this bridge just in a moment. Yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting challenge to build this module when I come round to do that one, just because obviously with it having the steep sides, it presents a bit of a challenge to film it, because you really want to be able to, or I want to be able to at least film from down looking up towards trains passing that rail bridge. So yeah, whether I sort of make key points where I can actually get the camera to get some footage of that, or whether I have sort of just modelled one side of the valley where we're actually looking into it, I'm not yet sure, but yeah, should produce some sort of interesting challenges. And the other thing, of course, with this this part of the line, even though the main layout's going to have 4 running lines, obviously for this one I want to just make it quite prototypical really, as much as I can. So it will feature the 2 lines running down to one individual single line, and what I'll do is I will run the other 2 lines around the back, so they'll be out of sight behind a sort of scenic break or a back scene of some sort, so they'll be out of view. And this is a good picture, just having a real good look at the structure of that bridge, which hopefully should be enough to reproduce quite a good record of it, a good model of it. So yeah, it's actually stood on those sort of stone or brick plinths, isn't it really? And then you've just got the additional metal work underneath it, probably iron. it was actually, when I was filming this, it was a real bonus actually that the road was closed, because usually when it's open it can be actually quite a busy road. But with the road being closed a bit further ahead, you could really just sort of have a walk. There was very few cars passing. I think there's just one access point to one of the quarries, but that was all very quiet. So yeah, normally you'd struggle to film like this on this road with cars and trucks going past, but yeah, on this particular occasion it was quite good. Okay, and there's just a few more pictures of where I'd parked up again. Now, I'm not quite sure that infrastructure, whether that was another line or whether that's, I don't know, a slightly different route that the line took or what, I do not know. But yeah, it certainly looks as if there was some kind of infrastructure there. Again, if you know anything more about this, please, add them on in the comments below. That'd be really great. Always interested to read those. Okay, so a few more shots of the stream for help giving a bit of inspiration for planning that. And again, that's that infrastructure. There's some not sure, that kind of retaining wall, as if there was something else crossing at that point. And then that just shows some of the rocks on the side of the valley at this point. Okay, on this one you can just about, if you look carefully, see the track bed. I do zoom in, so it's pretty much in the middle of the screen there, and that was just looking across the road and across the stream at the track bed on the other side, just to show really how it just sort of disappears through these trees. I think it'd look really good to model something like this. And there you go, you can just see the track bed right in the centre of the screen there. In fact, I just zoom in so you can see that those lines. Or that single track line at this point by the looks of it. And then just panning up the other side of the valley, just so you can see how steep it is. It's a nice blue sky on the up ahead. This shot just shows those sheer rock faces, just showing how deep the valley is. All that nice rock work. There we go, as the bumblebee does his work. Yeah, really relaxing valley this, actually, when there's no traffic. Very peaceful, very quiet. Okay, this one just panning round, just really wanted to give an example really of just how steep the valley sides were. You can just see the cliff face on the opposite side there, showing how deep this is, and sort of sheer drop. It's quite a unique kind of valley really. I'm not sure whether there's many other places in the country like this, quite like this. And really it would have been such a challenge for the engineers to design this route through it. Okay folks, so fast forward to the following day. It's a little bit cloudier, a little bit windier, but still the rain held off, which was good. We're out of the Wye Valley now. We're on the road that runs from Peak Forest to the north. We're north looking towards the valley, and I wanted to just take this shot really just because it illustrates just how stunning some of this Peak District countryside is. Now as we pan round to the left here, you see we're looking towards the valley, and you'll get just coming into shot in a moment some of the steep cliff sides there. You can just see in the centre of the screen now, and obviously that runs down to the valley where that road runs through, which we will join after we've been to Millersdale and Monsal Dale. Yeah, you can really shows the characteristics of the countryside. I should point out that the railway line, the working line, only it curves around, so where we go into Millersdale, that is not a working line. However, it is a really nice preservation route, a scenic walk, cycle track, etc., bridle path, where you can walk the full distance along the disused track bed. Millersdale as well, you'll see there's a couple of viaducts there that are really impressive. If you are enjoying the video, I'd be really grateful if you could give it a thumbs up. All feedback is welcome, as long as it's constructive. So yeah, really appreciate that. If you would be interested in subscribing, then please subscribe with the notification bell, and that will keep you fully up to date with any future videos I do. It's not solely a model railway channel. It does cover other things such as peak forest operations, the East Lancs Railway, and also some aviation stuff as well. So yeah, we're on this lovely road now, just heading towards Millersdale. Okay folks, just like to give a couple more shout outs. So yeah, as we travel over to Millersdale, I'd just like to give a shout out to Yorkshire Mal's Trains. That's a really great channel. He's basically got multiple rooms where that line passes through. Quite an extensive layout there, very impressive stuff. Okay, so shout out to you, Mal. Cheers, mate. Okay guys, so now we're just heading into Millersdale there, as you've just seen on the sign, and you see we drop down towards the viaduct, so you can just see over there to the left. Again, really great location this. There was the Millersdale station there, and that's very interesting. Now you can just see one of the bridges, the over bridges, as we go underneath this, and then there's the next bridge just coming into view. So you had basically, as well as these two over bridges above us, you had two viaducts that went past each other very close together, and I'm sure that would be a brilliant feature to model as well, albeit I think that would be a bit too much of a taking on a bit too much for the particular scene that I want to get, and with the working line. But yeah, very scenic place this. Very definitely recommend coming up for a trip around sometime. Okay, so yeah, that was Millersdale. I did want to actually get out and just sort of stretch my legs around there a bit really, but it was quite busy, just out of shot from the camera, further in where there was a bit of a parking area, so I decided against it on this occasion. But this road actually takes us to Monsal Dale and the Monsal Head Viaduct eventually, and then Ashford on the Water. This road will take us down into the valley, and then we'll drive along the bottom of the valley until we get to near Monsal Head, where we'll climb steeply upwards, and we'll bring us out at quite a nice scenic site at the top. Okay, just to give another couple of shout outs I'd like to give is one to Peter Shaw of Chapel End Junction. So yeah, that's another great channel I enjoy watching, so yeah, certainly check that one out. And another one, Fox Hill Railway over in Dunkirk, so that's a model railway, and also does some footage of the French trains as well, so that's an interesting one to have a look at also. Okay, so the next video I'm going to be doing on the model railway project, the new build, is going to be the continuation of that baseboards series basically. So yeah, what I've really got to think about there is how I'm going to just well, firstly nail on the plan, so have the track roughly on the board, so I can start working it out, how I'm going to actually have that running and how those curves are going to work, and then of course that will allow me to work out the kind of vertical extent that I want to fit in, and then I can build the relevant construction for that, so to get the two track beds. So as soon as I've done that, I'll bring you back for an update on that one as well. Okay folks, so as we take this journey to Monsal Trail, I'll just give you a little bit of information about Millersdale railway station, which is where we've just been past, near those two viaducts that would go across, take the line across the valley. Millersdale railway station was situated in Millersdale near Tideswale in the Peak District. It was built in 1863 by the Midland Railway on its extension of the Manchester, Buxton, Matlock and Midlands Junction Railway from Rowsley. It served an important junction where passengers for Buxton joined or left the trains between London and Manchester. It was originally to be called Bakewell Mill, but in the end was named Millersdale for Tideswell. For such a rural location, it was unusually large. Indeed, it was one of the largest stations on the line and was one of the few stations in England to have a post office on the platform. Millersdale also sent dairy, agricultural and quarried products from the surrounding areas to the major cities, while also serving local towns and villages, notably Tideswell, Taddington and Wormhill. Wormhill near to the Peak Forest. Much of its activity was concerned with the connecting service to and from Buxton. Traffic for Buxton actually followed the main line north for nearly 2 miles before diverging at Millersdale Junction beside Bakewell Mill Halt. Changing at Millersdale often involved a wait, and the High Peak News of November 1900 referred to the station as Patience Junction. The station was later immortalised in the 1964 song Slow Train by Flanders and Swan. The station closed in 1967, but trains continued to pass through until 1968 when the line was closed. So there's just a little bit of information about Millersdale. Okay folks, so we've spoken a little bit about Millersdale. It seems only fair to also give you a bit of information about Monsal Trail railway station, which is where we're going to at the moment. So Monsal Trail railway station was opened in 1866 by the Midland Railway on its line from Rowsley, extending to Manchester, Buxton, Matlock and Midlands Junction Railway. The original intention was merely to have a goods depot to serve the nearby Cressbrook Mill, to be called Cressbrook or Cressbrook Sidings. However, a passenger station would also serve the villages of Upperdale and Cressbrook. The downline and platform was built on a shelf carved into the rock face, while the up was built on wooden trestles over the hillside. The wooden buildings for the latter were obtained from Evesham railway station. So yeah, really some interesting engineering. That it would be really great to be able to go back and see that how it looked. But fortunately, there's lots of decent bits of footage of that on YouTube as well. So certainly have a look at that. From Monsal Trail, the line proceeded through Cressbrook, 471 yards or 431 metres, and Linton, 515 yards and 471 metres tunnels to Millersdale on its way north. It cut through solid limestone. They were both complex tunnels on a gradient of 1 in 100 and curved to allow the line to conform to the terrain. It was written, "There is not in the whole range of peak scenery such a lovely landscape in so small a space as can be viewed from the platform of this singular and romantically situated station." The station closed to regular passenger traffic in 1959, but continued to be used by occasional ramblers, specials and excursions until April 1961. Trains continued to pass through the station until 1968, when the line was closed. Today this section of the line forms part of the Monsal Trail, an 8.5 mile 13.7 kilometre walk and cycleway. The down platform edge can still be seen, but nothing remains of the up platform or timber buildings. The tunnels previously mentioned were reopened in 2011, and the previous path diversions over the river via a permissive path by Cressbrook Mill are still available. So that's all interesting stuff. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying this journey to around some of these nice Peak District sites. First of all, we've probably not got too far to go before we start dropping down into the valley, so that's quite an interesting trip down there. Please let me know what you think of the video, this style. There are others. I was certainly planning to do another scenic inspiration type video, which is going to be looking at some of the railway lines around Manchester. Certainly there's the very much elevated lines there, on brick built structures and arches, all sorts of bridges, and I certainly would like to feature some of those kind of scenes on one of the modules that I do, that's going to be the city towns type landscape. And I was also thinking about doing a further one as well, covering parts of Stockport as well, because again there's quite a decent bit of railway history there as well. Certainly the Stockport Viaduct is an absolutely magnificent structure. So yeah, let me know if you enjoy this style of video. I will be doing these as well, and I could potentially do some other type where I do a bit of an explore, potentially even with some on your recommendations if you have any. So yeah, please let me know in the comments below. I'll look at any feedback, and that's always interesting. And again, really using it a bit of a vote of consensus, really, see what people think. So yeah, all good stuff. Some really nice roads here, past a number of bikers on the way back enjoying themselves out in this beautiful weather. Okay folks, I think we might even have time for a couple more shout outs. So yeah, shout out to Ollie of Learning Double O Gauge, regular commenter on the channel, and he's doing a layout at the moment. He's one of my younger viewers, and he's doing a layout that it just shows how versatile it is. He just basically has that stored under his bed and just pulls it out and then cracks on with it. But yes, so just a shout out to Ollie. Good luck with that, mate, and yeah, thanks for your support also. And then another regular contributor is Craig Quinn, regularly comments on the videos, and he's got a layout he's started to build and put together some stock, and he likes to do quite a few different projects and things, and certainly at the moment he's doing a wagons project which is coming up shortly. So shout out as well to Craig. Okay folks, so yeah, I'll certainly be doing a few more shout outs in the next scenic inspiration video, which is going to cover the Peak Forest. So yeah, again, check out some of the Peak Forest videos if you want to know what that location looks like. But I'd imagine a lot of you are very familiar with it. It's a fantastic location for viewing freight traffic. So yeah, more of that to come. So yeah, back to the road, back to the journey. So as we go along this very narrow little road here, we go through some really picturesque little villages, as you've probably seen just passing through. And this is the point that the road starts to drop down into the valley bottom, as we approach kind of the Monsal Dale area. So yeah, you can see just out the side windows, you can see it's you can look across the valley there, and it really is very very picturesque. So yeah. Okay, as we come down this narrow road, I notice that you've got buildings on one side of the road here, some houses, and when you think this is really quite a steep valley side that we're descending down here, and I thought that'd probably be quite an interesting feature to build, something where you've got a small road and then you've got perhaps a row of cottages that are unusually built right on the side of the valley, and I thought that certainly looked quite interesting. So as we come down this road now, we're getting lower gradually, it's descending, and then we get into a wooded area shortly where it's quite tree covered, and that was very sort of scenic descent down. I think it's just coming here actually on the road as we get down. You see very very tree lined, and this road just continues to sort of dogleg around and descend the steep valley. Okay, so we continue to drop down here to the bottom of the valley, and we're heading off over towards Cressbrook here, which is really it's quite a narrow, relatively narrow valley at the very bottom of this steep-sided landscape. So yeah, as we go along this road, we travel along the bottom of the valley, and that will take us to Monsal Dale, and you should see the Headstone Viaduct, which is part of that Monsal Trail. So you should see that fairly soon. Okay, so as you see, the roads are quite narrow here, so you've got to make use of any passing places that you can. I also imagine it'd be quite difficult during the winter, certainly when the roads are icy, and if there's snow here, trying to get out of this valley would be quite a job, I would imagine. But yeah, as we travel along here past this little hamlet, we've got the River Wye to the right hand side. And then as we continue along, we've got some open fields to the right, and then you should see the Headstone Viaduct. Okay, so you can see the road was starting to gradually ascend up the side of the valley now to get out of it at Monsal Head. Okay guys, and as we just come round here, there's the Stables pub and the Monsal Head. This is quite a popular viewing location. I'll just give you a shot of the photograph from here. Okay, folks, so there's a photo from this location at the top of Monsal Head with the viaduct. There's a close-in of the viaduct. One of the most stunning views in the Peak District, I believe, this one. Okay, so from Monsal Head, we're going to turn right and then we're going to descend down in Ashford-on-the-Water, where we rejoin the River Wye again. Okay, so we turn right and we follow this road down into Ashford-on-the-Water. Ashford-on-the-Water is another one of those absolutely stunning Peak District villages. It's a very small village, just a few shops, etc. And yeah, really is. It's just on the banks of the River Wye, and a very nice scenic location. Would really be a nice little feature to model part of, and certainly lots of buildings you can get there from a rural scene, which would be very nice to recreate. So yeah, relatively short stretch of road this into the village, and from there we'll turn right onto the A6 Bakewell Road, and that road will continue to take us to Buxton. As of course today that road is open, whereas when I came the day before it was closed, so we can only go so far up the valley. The plan is, guys, that when we get onto the A6, I'm just going to give you the view of the valley road. You'll see certainly those bridges, the railway over bridges, the way that they cross over repeatedly of the road and the river, which is quite an interesting scenic feature itself. And also we'll be stopping at one of the brilliant viewing places where we'll really get a very good look at the way the single track line for the freight traffic, the way it follows the contours of the very steep hillside. So it comes from one of the quarries, it comes through a tunnel, and then the tunnel is basically built in the rock, and then from there the line just curves quite sharply round to the right, and it really just hugs the hillside, the line. It's very interesting view of it, and so imagine watching the some of the stone trains going around there would be quite impressive. From there the trains would then rejoin, enter the valley, and then they would enter that stretch of track that continually crosses the road and the river as it makes its way into Buxton. So here we go, guys. We just reaching a few of the buildings, so we're just on the edge of Ashford-on-the-Water. As you can see, it's a really stunning location. All stone-built buildings, very scenic, very picturesque. Okay, so it's a right here and then a further right at the end, I believe, and we are back onto the A6. Okay, so this road, the A6 Bakewell Road, it's a very good road. It's a nice driver's road, very nice for motorbikes and cars. A very enjoyable road to travel on. also quite a quick road in places as well. Is it also, it kind of ends up quite low down in the valley, and it also climbs as this stretch is one of the climb sections where we climb up and we end up on top of the valley, outside of the valley completely, before dropping down back into the valley. As you see here, if you look towards the left, you'll see the steep sides of the valley there as we start to ascend out of this aspect of the valley. Does remind me a little bit of some in some part of the Snake Pass, if anyone's familiar with that road. Just in terms of how open it is and the steep sides. There was a stage a bit further up where there was a pheasant with a death wish just waiting in the middle of the road, and I had to really slow down for that one, give him a chance to fly off. Okay guys, so yeah, the road opens up here into a bit of a stretch of dual carriageway. So you've got a slower lane on the left hand side and then a faster speed overtaking lane on the right hand side. So yeah, really climb up here out of the valley onto the top before descending back down again. Certainly around here there's quite a few caravan sites and camping sites when it's safe to use them again. Certainly some fantastic locations. Okay, so the views really open up here over to the right. Got some stunning views yet again. Now we've not got too far to travel now before we get sight of that marvellous cutting and quarry to one side. Here we go, here's the lay-by on the right we turn into here. So we'll park up and then I'll show you some nice photographs, and then what the plan is, I'm going to do a little walk down into the valley and we can check out some of the old viaducts from that line, and the old bridges, etc. So I'll bring you back in a sec. Okay, so there we go guys, Monsal Trail, fantastic location, and we follow that sign and it takes us down a very short but very steep-sided path here actually. So over to the left you don't realise until you get to the bottom just how steep it is. So yeah, certainly exercise a bit of caution with that when you're going down. Surprised me a bit when I got down to the bottom and I looked back and saw how steep the sides were. So yeah, that's the view looking in, and there you go in the centre. You can just see that line that's come from the quarry, and the way it curves around, really spectacular. I think the view from here, it looks if you're looking down on the model railway anyway. You can just see the opening of the tunnel there, and then just the quarry in the distance. And again, the continuation, if you were to continue past that quarry, it will bring you to Tunstead Sidings and Peakdale and Peak Forest. I'll also show you an aerial, a couple of aerial shots as well that shows that quarry, and it'll show the line as well, and the parking spots. But yeah, fantastic, a bit of scenic inspiration to me that. You look at all the gritstone cliffs, and I've really enjoyed this part of the Peak District. Okay, so just looking back down in the centre of the shot, you see these 4 terrace cottages. Now, how picturesque are they? Just nestled in the bottom of the valley there. Really peaceful, idyllic little spot. But again, I imagine quite difficult in winter. You're certainly a bit isolated there from the local shops. And then just panning out just to the left there, you see the proximity of the line, and again those sheer gritstone cliffs, and then looking further back to the quarry, and then just beyond the quarry as well. There's a close-in of the very nice picturesque cottages, which would be quite nice to model something like that really. It'd be a nice little project. And then a bit more of a look at the track bed there, where it's that single track line, and just look at how sheer the cliffs are there where it goes down into the cutting. Another view of the quarry, and then just a bit of information on the if you wish to pause at that spot. And just really looking at some of the specific kind of gritstone hillside here, where you've just got the cliffs and then the grass and trees. As part of the one of the bridges over the top, which we're going to descend to in a moment, and there's another one as that line splits, with one arm going off towards Buxton and then one arm going off towards Peakdale. I do think when you look back at some of these places and you see them, and they've been done very nicely for you know, walkers and cyclists, etc. You know, I think it's absolutely marvellous that you can enjoy them and what they've done. But yet again, there's almost a bit of sadness to it, in the fact that you're not looking down there and watching steam trains just flying along there. That would be quite spectacular, really. I've said quite a few times, including to people in the recent comments, how enjoyable it would be if you could just go back in time and just have a look at these, and certainly for those who have actual real memories of them, it must be a great thing. And yeah, just a shot looking up at the weather. It did start raining slightly, just slightly. Wasn't quite as good as yesterday, but still can't complain when you've got scenery like this to look at. That was just from the parking area, just looking down. I was just trying to capture a little bit just how steep the valley descended. Really is very steep sided, and again just looking at the aspects of the valley here in this shot. So we've descended down the steps now and we're heading towards those cottages. As you can see here, unlike Monsal Dale, Millersdale, where it was actually quite busy, there was quite a few people knocking about, and in some cases not very much signs of any kind of social distancing. So here it was good. You can see it was very quiet, so it was an ideal time to come and have a look, really. I think it only passed about 3 or 4 people altogether. Okay, and just looking over towards the quarry, you can't really read that very well, but yeah, some of the signposts, and that's just stood on one of those bridges looking down. It just really illustrates how they've had to cut through that rock to sort of lay the track, and what a job that must have been to do that. You can see how steep it is there, where they've literally just had to cut that deep cutting for the track to go on. And then really I've just sort of panned around so you can see, just gives an idea of what a job that would have been to blast through all of that rock. Again, as I'm here, I'm just imagining what that would have been like, how, you know, how lucky it would have been the day when you could have actually travelled on the trains there. What an absolute joy it would have been to travel these kind of routes. There's a bit more history for you of the lines and different bits about the different wildlife, etc. in there. And again, there's that look, and that's the bridge I was stood on taking those photographs. So now we're looking under, and then over to the right is where the path is that we've walked down, with the car park being over up to the right hand side. Okay, a few different options. So Pennine Bridleway, bit of information on the Monsal Trail. A couple of different routes you can go here. They had reopened some of the tunnels as well, which is good. So you can go through them. And again, this is that river's just near where the little cottages are that we're almost down to now. Yeah, absolutely stunning scenery, this. Okay, that's where the line would have continued. You couldn't actually walk through there. I think that's a closed off section now. And there's those cottages in a bit more detail. Again, just had to take some more shots of that cutting. Just really, really unique kind of landscape, this gritstone. Okay guys, I was just trying to pan up here to see if I could locate any aspect of the track bed in amongst those trees, because somewhere behind there is where the line curves, and I thought I could just sort of see it just towards the middle to the top of that shot. Really, I was trying to see if I could just see it, but yeah, that is where the curve goes. It curves round there from the right of the screen towards the left, and then that curve takes the line back down towards Buxton along the Wye Valley, which is where we'll end up meeting the route that we took yesterday up to the closed section. Okay, so couldn't resist another quick look at those cottages, and then just panning up just to show that steep valley side and some of the gritstone cliffs that you get. Again, really great feature. And back down to the cottages. Okay, so then it was just a brief walk up the side of the valley back to the parking area. And here's just showing you a few aerial photographs so you can see the way that line curves towards the bottom left of the screen. And then the quarry is up towards the north of that. There's one taken in the winter. You can clearly see the quarries in the distance, and onward would go to Peat Forest. And you can just see the curve there on the left of the screen as it goes round. And again, that's taken from the same position in the summer again. And you can just see that nice curved line that heads off back to Buxton. Okay folks, so it's back in the car. Had just started to rain now, as you can see by the on the windscreen, but yeah, I couldn't really complain because it's been a good trip so far. What was the bit that we were going to be doing now was going to be turning right from this little parking area that you can see if you look carefully on one of the aerial shots. We're going to be turning right back onto the A6 and then dropping along the Wye Valley into Buxton. Okay, apologies about the picture quality here. Just for a short stretch, it was slightly out of focus due to the rain, but I do pull up a little bit further down here on the left and readjust it and we get back to normal picture quality. So yeah, from this stretch now, that curved section of line that we saw before will rejoin. It will come around the curve and it will sort of rejoin the stretch of valley that this road is also going to pass down as well. And really it's this stretch of the Wye Valley that I'm going to be taking the inspiration from for the new layout build for the section, the particular Peat Forest section of that layout. Somewhere over on the left here that pulled over, and then we just readjust it to get that improved picture quality. For anyone who's interested, it's all filmed on an iPhone 11 Pro, I believe is the particular model phone, which has been really good footage. There we go, so that's just zoomed in nice, focused correctly. Okay, so here we are, we're on the stretch of the Wye Valley, where we've got, there's the first bridge going across, so where that road, the rail track has come around the side of that big hill, that's now crossed over us, so we've got the railway line over to the left, up above us somewhere, we've got the river just to the right down there. So yeah, so it's really this stretch of the Wye Valley that I will be hopefully recreating something of the character of on the one of the modules of the new build. But yeah, this rail line, it crosses a number of occasions. I think there's about 4 or 5 crossings up until the point of Buxton here. Obviously that line can't make the same corners that the road can, so yeah, it's over the road many times. For anyone who's interested in the new layout build I'm doing, I have actually produced a couple of videos. Here's another bridge going over the top, again it's a very similar style. So I believe the railway line is now on the right hand side of us with the river. So yeah, as I was saying, anyone who's interested in finding out a little bit more about the new modular layout build, it's going to be a large 00 gauge modular layout, modern era, also possibly changing era to sort of 80s, 90s type era as well on occasions. But yeah, I've done a couple of videos on that, on the planning, the idea, and a bit of a trailer for it as well, so please check those out. And this is the bit where the road gets very twisty here, left and right, and quite tight corners as it follows the valley with the railway line. Again, I believe at this point it's just single track, and then it does open up back out again into double track lines as well. There's another rail crossing over the top. So again, as I said before, these bridges, they all seem to be quite a similar style really. Okay, and that's the point that we got up to yesterday. The road was blocked off from that point. So now this is just the return part of the journey back to Buxton. There's another rail bridge crossing. So yeah, fantastic stretch of valley this. Okay guys, so when we get to the edge of Buxton, just at the end, you'll have seen the full trip along this Wye Valley Road, the A6 from Bakewell Road, and from that point we will leave the journey from now. So if you've stayed and watched till this point, then thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please like the video. That really helps me. It gives me an idea of what kind of content you appreciate. Any comments as well would be really appreciative of. Again, with any suggestions. Coming soon, there's going to be another layout update, so we're going to continue with those baseboards, and we're going to be building the vertical extent for the 2 track beds. So yeah, very much still a continuation of the baseboard phases. But yeah, that should be quite interesting. We should start to get some visual idea of how those lines are going to be for that first section of the double river crossing. I did also do a video on that, so please check that one out if you're interested in seeing that particular layout module. Also, there's going to be another Scenic inspiration video, and that's going to be probably a bit of a shorter one than this one. It's going to be looking at the peak forest and the area just around there as well. So yeah, that's going to be coming soon also. And here we are folks, we're back at the roundabout where we started off that journey yesterday. So hope you've enjoyed the footage and that little trip out into the Peak Forest and, well, Peak District. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that, and as much as I have filming it. So I'll leave it there, good folks. So thanks very much for watching. Take care and keep safe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.